Yes, you read that correctly. Hidden weapons and Easter eggs in the Metal Gear Solid Pizza Hut demo. I couldn't believe it when I was younger when I first saw this. I haven't seen a lot of people cover this, but you might know about some of these secrets. But if you don't, be sure to watch. It's going to be great. Ahoy everybody, I am Stormy, and this is the Metal Gear Solid Pizza Hut demo. First up, we're greeted with a very beautiful menu, and look at these games. My god, Tomb Raider, Medieval, Gran Turismo, Crash Bandicoot. But we're going to be checking out Metal Gear Solid, and we've got a classic screen of showing the instructions, along with a message saying you're about to play a demonstration of Metal Gear Solid. At this stage, the game is still under development, so this is just a taste of the action you will experience. Konami hopes that you enjoy this sample of the Metal Gear experience. And isn't that the sweetest thing in the world? As the demo boots up, you can see we're greeted by the classic Metal Gear Solid screen. It doesn't look too different from the final version. Colors might be a little bit different, but that's the only thing I could notice. But the biggest noticeable thing is where it says press start. That is a completely different font, and we are going to get a little bit more in depth later in the video. But for now, let's begin. The intro of Metal Gear Solid begins with Snake in the water, and you'll notice an immediate change in the credits, which has quite a history we'll get into a little bit later in this video. But so far everything seems quite ordinary, nothing seems out of place, camera angles are the same, graphically it's looking the same, and I really love this intro overall. It's one of the best intros of all time. First codec call starts up, and it's in English to my surprise. I completely forgot about this. Compared to the TGS and E3 demos, which were in Japanese, if you want me to cover those, let me know. Finally getting into the gameplay, we can see down below is the same ration. That's not too different from the final game. Nothing seems out of place here. I also checked the second ration, still the same here. I also checked the guard pattern to see if that's the same, and it looks like this is pretty close to the final build of the game. And the guard has the same pattern, which is really cool. After playing so much Metal Gear Solid 1, I start looking for a lot of differences, so you'll hear that a lot in this video. But it looks like a lot of the cutscenes and codecs, they're all in the same place. Maybe loading differs here and there just because it's a demo. But yeah, I think it's really cool that a lot of this stuff is very close to the final version. You can see I was messing here with the frame rate. The frame rate was a little bit dippy here, but this could be because it's the NTSC, or I don't think this is the PAL version. I think this might be NTSC. But the first versions of Metal Gear Solid were very rough on frame rate compared to Integral, which smoothed all these out. You can see we make it up the dock, and finally we got the Metal Gear Solid logo. I wish this had something like the Pizza Hut demo, or it said demo underneath. I thought that would have been a nice little change. Next up we have the Hind cutscene, which plays out pretty much the same as the final build, along with all the explanation codec calls, which is pretty cool to see. For some reason this has been the hardest part of the video for me to re-record, so here you go. We got binoculars, nothing looks too different, we're moving on. Now that we can run around the heliport, I decide to try a little speedrun route that I normally do by grabbing the chaff grenades, setting them off to go in the next room to grab the stun grenades. Now I want you to pay attention to this room because later in the video we're going to check out some fun things that can happen in here. I go on the back of the truck to pick up the SOCOM pistol. I decide to have a little bit of a look around first person to see if there's anything I notice out of the ordinary, but like I said, I think this is pretty close to the final build, if not very much the final build of the game. There's not much difference here, so I decide to move on. I take the second floor vent to get into the tank hangar. Now this vent is going to be important later in the video for some potential hidden things, so look forward to that. I pretty much skipped the call of Master Miller because, you know, it's Master Miller. We can see a cutscene here hasn't changed from finding out where the DARPA Chief's location is, and if you've been seen, it does do the second cutscene saying, where we have an intruder, someone's here, he's killed 3 people, he's done things. So, anyway, moving on. Making our way to the end of the vent, we can see a ration at the end, which is the same as the final build, and we get the most important cutscene in the game, so thank you very much, Colonel Crumpet. Now the first big difference in the demo is right here up the top where we get chaff grenades, followed by a cardboard box. Now imagine the cardboard box is put here just for people to have fun with and mess around to give you a taste of what's to come in the full game. Next we grab the thermal goggles. Now I can't remember if they say thermal goggle originally, or they did add the S at the end, but I thought that was pretty funny. I did check out the goggles to see if anything was kind of different, and looks all the same, which is great. You know, nothing changed here. Alright, editor Stormy here for a sec. While I was messing with this footage, I found it funny when you watch the transition between equipping the goggles and unequipping them. You see the funny polygonal model that Snake seems to get for himself. I thought this was a fun little quirk, and you should try it out for yourself. You actually can get it frame perfect if you time it right when you're going through menus. It's really fun. Checking out the first floor of the tank hangar, there's no changes really, and good to see the 2-button press Easter egg is still here for the elevator. I check out Tank Hangar in first-person view mode, no major shenanigans, nothing seems out of place until you get in the elevator and Armory, the B2 floor, is missing. So unfortunately you can't go there. I guess they wanted to keep this demo pretty focused, and that's fine, you know, it's a demo. Arriving on B1, we get the call as usual from Mei Ling saying, "It's the DARPA chief, go check him out. He's the big fuzzy green thing on the radar." And yeah, he's still there, cutscene's all the same. Making our way to the bottom to get to the ladder to go on the air vent. I check one of my favorite little camera views to show off a little hidden ration. Love how it's here in the demo. I just love it. I think it's fun. As I go through the vent, I check on all the cutscenes you can get, such as Johnny still on the loo and he still has that dang cold. Also, we've got a woman in the cell. And finally, you get the DARPA chief full cutscene, which I thought was great. And these cutscenes play out pretty much identical to the final build, with Metal Gear Rex's existence being found out, finding out about passwords, PAL keys, you know, the works. All of this explanation and chatter ends with the DARPA chief having an eternal rest, and that concludes the Metal Gear Solid Pizza Hut demo. I personally love this vertical slice of a demo, concludes on a cliffhanger, and makes you want to go out and play more. Gave you a few items to play with, there's some fun to be had in this demo. I enjoyed it, and you can still speedrun it the same way as the final game. But I think we should get into some of these little Easter eggs, hidden features, and weapons that are in the demo. So let's dive in. First up, let's take another look at the title screen for the MGS1 demo. And you can see the font is different. We're going to go a little bit more in detail here. You can see it's very placeholder, very much just new game and option. I decided to compare it with MGS1 Integral, which is the definitive version of MGS1. And you can see, yeah, it's a lot more animated in the original. Colors feel a little bit more brighter and poppy. I don't know, that could be up for interpretation. But yeah, you can see there's definitely a lot more animation and the font was different. Checking out the options menu in the demo will show a very different background. You get the SOCOM CGI scene, which is usually in the results screen of the game once you complete it. But yeah, it's nice to see something very different here. I loved it from this demo. It's very placeholder, and I love the work in progress builds. I even compared it, once again, to Integral to see what was different. And you can see Integral's version is very animated, much more visually appealing. And they used a very different background too. They stuck with that VR information looking background, which I think was probably a better fit for the game overall. Next up is the biggest change immediately as the game boots up, with the name Sean Barker instead of David Hayter. I had completely forgotten about this. It has not struck my mind in so long that David Hayter used an alias for this game, and I was curious about the change here. I do go a little bit more detail in a sec to show you, but I also went through and compared once again with the Integral version of the game to see if there were any differences in the credits, and no, everything seemed quite on point. So yeah, once again, I was quite curious why David Hayter had the name Sean Barker instead. And I imagine it was because of maybe the Union thing. But I decided to check out my PAL version of the game. And this is, by the way, my original copy that I first played back in the day. I borrowed over and over from my video shop. And they finally let me buy it for my birthday, which was really cool. So I definitely want to give a big shout out to Civic Video Please Rewind. Thank you. So checking out the instruction book, I wanted to see if there were any differences, because something sparked a memory, and as I go through and check the credits, yeah, Solid Snake, Sean Barker, completely shocked me, which makes me think this was printed before that change was made. I reckon it was a very last minute change for the game, where they decided, yeah, let's just have David Hayter have his name in there. And yeah, it must have been a very last minute change for the game. So it's cool to see, like literally last minute. This next one is more of a funny little Easter egg I found while playing this demo. While I was going through again to get footage for this, I decided to pause the game and walk away. Wifey wanted some help, you know, and I just, usual husband things. And to my shock, I came back and the game was booted back to the main Pizza Hut menu screen. It was, you know, where you can play the other games, you can choose one of the other ones. I imagine this was probably used in kiosks and other stuff like that for Pizza Hut. They could have had one back in the day. I couldn't find any imagery on it, but that's the only thing I can think of why it would boot you back so quickly. But yeah, I thought that was funny. I thought it was a great little Easter egg to see in here. So the speedrunner in me wanted to check some stuff, and one of the classic speedrun things to do in this game is the vent glitch, where you put Snake about halfway into the vent. You can see it's a little tricky to get, but you kind of wait till he's sitting about here. You look in first person view, look up, and then get up. Let go of the buttons and get up. And you can see, yeah, the vent glitch definitely works. You can walk around and see the back of the map, essentially. Now, I did try the usual here, where I tried to go up and see if I can get into the loading screen for the canyon, but it doesn't appear to be here, so they took that out of the demo. But I did decide to walk in the room where normally the sleeping guard is, and yeah, you can actually hear him snoring, which is hilarious. I did put it in the audio here because it was a little bit jank, but he is absolutely snoring. But be careful, once you're in here, the invisible walls kick in, thinking you're in this room. And Snake also vanishes as well. I thought that was really funny. But yes, this is definitely a soft lock. You are going to have to reset. But yeah, I thought this was a really funny glitch to show off. I decided to try again in the B1 floor and see what happens. You can see if you put Snake about here, do the same vent glitch. Yeah, you can get outside and run around again. And normally this is how you skip half of the game if you know some of the other glitches down the line. Great to see it's still here. Decide to focus on the radar here because the camera actually doesn't pan up. But if you hit the level 6 door, there's actually something here. There's actually it's trying to take you to the next thing. It's actually trying to take you to the cell. But the game doesn't know what to do. It starts spinning this little disc you can see in the top right. It'll spin that indefinitely. It'll sometimes do a little spin and then stop. The game has no clue what to do because it's just a demo. But it's unfortunate we couldn't see the cell at all. But I thought this is also really funny to find. Now, I had to try this one out to see if this was in the demo. But since I noticed everything else was kind of in the final build of the game, I thought I'd give this a try. So, if you don't know with Meryl, she has a few different poses she does. So what you do is you go look at her first, you leave the vent, you come back in, you look at her again, and she's doing a different animation. She's doing some one handstand push-ups, I believe it is. You repeat this process, you leave, you come back in, and she'll be doing something else entirely. She'll be doing something with stretching her leg. And upon leaving again, if you come back in for a fourth time, you'll see, yeah, it's still here. It's definitely in the demo. She is now a lot more comfortable. You can see she's now missing a favorite pair of pants. And she'll repeat the same animations again and again if you repeat this, leaving the vent and coming back in. And yeah, it's all still here, still the same. This is definitely confidently close to the final build, if not the final build. Man, I've said final build a lot in this video. Anyway, I'm feeling uncomfortable. Let's move on to what you're all here for. The hidden weapons. So if you remember the cardboard box earlier in our playthrough of the demo, this is here just for the demo as a feature. But there is a couple more things in this demo that you may not know about. So let's get into it. While outside in the heliport for your first time through on a playthrough, head into the second floor vent, and then immediately exit out. You're going to head back to the truck with the SOCOM in it. Make sure you got the SOCOM first. You're going to find a second box here now that says Nikita Launcher, so there's actually a hidden weapon here, which is great. The second hidden weapon is here in this room, where you get the C4 where the stun grenades are. So make sure you got the stun grenades and the SOCOM. You'll get these two items, which is great to have some fun with. I love how there's this little extra here in the demo. I found out about this one back in the day through a different demo disc, because I had this identical demo where a mate of mine told me, oh, if you go to the vent and then you press against the the little window they have. While that part wasn't true, I think that's how he found out. I used to do that, and yeah, it turns out, yeah, there was more weaponry. It's so fun to have. And that pretty much concludes everything I found in the Metal Gear Solid Pizza Hut demo. Thank you so much for watching this. Thank you guys so much for an incredible 2024. I'm on my way to 2,000 subscribers, which is crazy. Be sure to like and subscribe. We've done so much Metal Gear Solid this year, and I can't wait to see what 2025 brings. And yeah, I'd really appreciate some feedback or anything else you'd like to see. Maybe more demos and some other stuff like that. And yeah, I just can't believe all the support I've had this year, all the amazing people I've met, and you guys have been really incredible, so thank you very much once again from the bottom of my heart. I hope you had a great Christmas for 2024, and you'll have an excellent New Year, if this comes out by New Year. I actually hope it does. But yeah, it's been great, and much love, and as always, stay safe, stay positive, be yourselves, remember to wash your hands, filthy world out there, and bon voyage. See you next video.